Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum. It's a privilege to open this vital conversation on how we can elevate global development through behavioral science, a field that may well define the future of how we serve humanity. In today's fractured world, it's easy to assume that global solidarity is in retreat, that we are drifting from cooperation to competition, from multilateralism to myopia. I, for one, don't believe that we are witnessing the end of global collaboration. We are witnessing its evolution. A new story is being written, one that embraces not just governments and NGOs, but the private sector, philanthropic actors, and communities themselves. And it's being written with new tools, none more promising than behavioral science, which helps us to understand how humans truly think, decide, and act, and how we can design interventions and work with human nature, not against it. His Highness Sheikh Mohamed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the UAE, has taught us that nations are built through vision, knowledge, and cooperation. And that ethos, vision, knowledge, and cooperation, is exactly what today's development landscape demands. And the UAE is proud to be playing a growing role in this evolving landscape, not only as a major donor of aid, but as a catalyst for a smarter, more inclusive, and more effective model of development. And this is not new terrain for us. Our founding father, the late Sheikh Zayed, rahimahullah, believed deeply that a nation's true wealth is its people. He championed a model of giving rooted not only in charity, but in dignity, empowerment, and partnership. Today, that legacy lives on through the UAE's global development efforts. And again, not just through financial support, but through an approach grounded in evidence, inclusion, and innovation. And our world is changing fast. The so-called Global South now contributes more than half of global GDP and is home to some 85% of the world's youth under the age of 25. And this emerging generation holds immense potential, but our systems must evolve to meet them where they are. We can no longer rely on models of aid rooted in top-down planning or transactional charity. What we need is strategic, systemic philanthropy rooted in local context, backed by data, and designed for scalable, lasting impact. And that's why the UAE and the Office of Development Affairs at the Presidential Court is doubling down on evidence-based development, from strategic investments in health and education systems to partnerships with regional behavioral insight groups, to the important work of the Behavioral Science Group, our host today with NYU. In essence, behavioral science offers us remarkable opportunity to design smarter interventions, interventions that align with how people really live and make it easier to do the right thing. But too often, behavioral tools are seen as fringe, clever add-ons rather than central instruments. And that must change. The UAE is helping to make that shift through pioneering applications of behavioral science in policy and aid by hosting platforms like BX 2025. We're positioning behavioral insights at the core of the global development dialogue. We're also increasingly demonstrating how behavioral science can act as a bridge between philanthropy and public policy, between local solutions and global solutions. Today, Through UAE Aid, our international development partnerships span over 200 countries and territories. But we're not content to be measured only by how much we give. We want to be measured by how effectively we give, which is why we're also investing in becoming a global hub for strategic philanthropy. The new Strategically Philanthropy Initiative at NYU Abu Dhabi, which I'm honored to support, is one such example. A center dedicated to advancing the study and practice of long-term, evidence-informed giving, tailored to the needs and aspirations of our region and beyond. The Gulf region already contributes an estimated $210 billion annually in private philanthropic giving through individuals and family offices, and this is expected to grow both in size and strategic sophistication. But again, the real opportunity is not in the amount. It's in how we coordinate this capital to create catalytic long-term change. Ladies and gentlemen, we are entering a new era of global giving, defined by one truth: no single actor, public or private, can solve the greatest challenges of our time alone. We need a whole-of-society approach that brings together governments, businesses, philanthropists, scientists, academics, and frontline communities. And this is especially critical at a time when the world is on the cusp of a $70 trillion intergenerational wealth transfer. We must really seize this moment to instill a new mindset of strategic giving, one that views generosity not as a feel-good impulse, but as a powerful tool for sustainable development. Let me leave you with this. The tools are here. The science is clear. The partnerships are forming. What remains is the will to act boldly and the humility to learn together as we go. If we can do that, then I believe that behavioral science, powered by strategic philanthropy, can become one of the defining forces for good in our lifetimes. A quiet revolution, if you will, in how we uplift lives, restore dignity, and build a better future for all. Thank you, and God bless.